When he said the call is black for the last run, I looked up and I said, "Oh, Trav's gonna shake his head at this one." I knew you were gonna have an opinion.
The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media.
Hey guys, welcome to Actions Detrimental, on location here in Phoenix, post Phoenix 2026. I'm Denny Hamlin. I drive the Bob's Discount Furniture car this weekend. Actually had a appearance with them on Saturday. It's quite nice. Jared, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Red Vest, Jared, Red Vest number 311 at the track on the weekends. Hey, go ahead, Travis. You introduce yourself, and then I got something to add.
I'm producer Travis with a camera this week.
Hey.
Pros of on-location recordings. Trav gets a webcam.
Yeah.
All right.
Denny, at that Bob's appearance, I heard there was a story of a young fan coming up to you, wanted to throw up the 11s with you.
He did. And I saw his knuckles like this when he was holding them down. They were like this, and I'm like, surely he's not gonna, do the birds. And he did. I mean, he's Molly's age. 9-ish maybe. But I was like, how about I give you these and you do whatever you want to do? So yeah, that was I like it. His parents were just like, it's like, all right, that's cool. I like
He's
it.
a Denny fan.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Yeah.
How's your guys' morning going out there?
I got to sleep in an extra 30 minutes compared to where we've been over the last few days. Bringing the baby out here is just, he's going to get up when it's, as soon as there's a crack of sunlight, he's up. So, not ideal, but everything's going good. We made it. We have a place to stay, which is more than what we had on Friday night. So, things are looking up.
So I wasn't with you. We gotta give the listeners this story. So we land in Scottsdale late Friday. You go to what your presumed Airbnb is, or your rental house, and then
yeah. Well, I always do an Airbnb on the Vegas Phoenix kind of the duo there because it's just I like to stay out. So I do. I went to. I booked a place and I was like, you know what? I felt like I'd been downgrading our places to stay over the last few years, and I'm like, we got to get back to where we were. So I reserved this really, really nice place, and I knew it was nice because you had to have a gate code to get in and to like into the street. Well, we get there and it's like really dark, and I'm checking my app and it says, booked, reserved, paid, all that. But I was like, man, it's weird. I usually get check-in instructions by now. And I looked at my phone, I'm like, hey, we're here to check in. Just nothing. House is really dark. I hit the Ring doorbell camera, nothing. Finally, this couple comes out and is like, what are you doing here? We're like, we're here to check in. Like, no, you're not. You're not staying here. I said, well, I mean, it says I am. And they're like, well, where did all this stuff come from? On their front porch was all this baby stuff that we had ordered through the app to be delivered to the house, right? So they're like, well, we're just gonna give away all this baby stuff to our neighbors because like we don't know why this stuff's on our front porch. And I'm like, well, I'm just confused. Well, how am I not here if it says I'm supposed to be here? They're like, well, what's your address? I said, here's the address. Look, isn't this the house that we're in? And they were not the friendliest the first 5 minutes. And then I think they understood, we had kids. I think that they saw it just me and Austin on the front porch. And we're like, who are these kids coming in here trying to, think that they VRBO'd, a $500 for the week house. And they're like, well, what'd you pay for this? I'm like, I told them. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, you got scammed. I says, well, okay, what do I do now? So we rushed. Austin had a contact out here to one of the rental places. He got in touch with the owner of the rental place. He's like, I got this one place that's still available. So we ran, we sent the family off to go get pizza while we looked around, had a few places, and came upon where we're at. I'm in the casita of the new place.
So, but you ordered through the website, right?
Yes. And I just saw, I just saw an email from VRBO that says, "How was your check-in experience?" And now it's just got something from my accountant says VRBO wants to talk. Can you call now? No. Okay. All right. So that was a non-ideal way to start the trip on Friday.
No.
Hey, we got a top 5 out of it on Sunday, though.
Sunday was an okay day. Not our magic stuff. Not our stuff.
I have a question about that. How does JGR put out some fast cars? Your car last year was fast. It's basically the same temperature, same tires. How do you go from having the, without a doubt, best car in November to a car that's kind of a 5th place car that you had to, do your best with?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of reasons, but to oversimplify it, I think that we do have additional horsepower, so the speed in which you're entering the corners are different. So therefore, the amount of brake that you use on corner entry is now different because you got to get the car slowed down. This car's still only going to make the certain minimum speed through the middle of the corner, so how you get there is a little different. And also when we were wildly successful last fall, I mean, the teammates take that and they tweak on it and they feel like they can make it a little better here and there, and then next thing you know, we're where we're at. I mean, and I don't know. I thought that the 20 was better, the 12 was better, probably better, but that was it, really. I thought us. We were kind of next in line with the 54. The 19 was strong when he was there, but I felt comfortable that we were a little better than the 19 and the 54. Not by much, by a little bit, but so we were just kind of that next tier. But the 20 was a standout, I thought.
You had your shots at the league. Did you think that if you ever got clean air that you would be able to hold off the 20 and the 12 and the other cars?
I mean, I don't know that I really did have a shot many times. Like every time we were kind of like we never got to start on the front row. I think
you did once, but it was on 2 tires.
But also late in that final
Yeah.
stage, you're the first car on 4 tires on that restart. Bell was beside you, but you had first
at
choice.
that point, you're just where are the cars going to wash up in turns 1 and 2, and unfortunately, they washed up in my lane, and he was able to go through on the bottom. So, but the previous restart was the other way around. If you saw, Bell was in front of me when we left pit road. I went around the very outside, got around him and 4 others. So it's just it's a crapshoot of trying to figure out at the end which lane's not going to get jumbled up when you have cars with old tires or 2 tires. But yeah, I mean, if we would have won yesterday, we would have had to stole it. You know what I mean? So I think we kind of had a status quo day for what our speed was.
So when you left the track, though, with the point situation that you acquired, happy leaving the track or just kind of like...
What, Jared?
This is what I said that same thing last night, Trev. We were sitting here on the couch watching the Hornets. I said, oh, you went from wherever you were in points to 12th, and now you're only 9 points off 5th. And
yeah. It's whatever. I mean, this is a marathon. Like I don't know. It's 1 week. Yeah, well, you jump up a lot in 1 week, and you're only, I don't know what, less than 10 from about fifth or sixth. So
So are you not looking at the standings week to week?
I am. No, I definitely am. I mean, on the ride home, I'm looking at the point standings. So I love it. I mean, truthfully, it's not different. The point standings are not different this year than they were last year, other than for the guys that win. The difference is there's no two sets of point standings. So where are you on playoff points? All we're looking at now is regular season. So we see how tight the field is, and it will continue to be tight until the next 2 to 3 weeks when tracks like Phoenix, what it does is allow people to really stack up big points. So on super speedways, the stage points are spread out all over the place because of, cars moving back and forth, and it's hard to get stage points and win races. And so same with road courses, like even Reddick and whatnot had to give up a stage just to put himself in a spot to win. But here's like Phoenix and Vegas and these tracks coming up, you're going to see people winning stages and winning races. And so there's going to be big jumps in points. And so, I think we earned 15 stage points yesterday. So that's a status quo good day for us.
Yeah, but aren't you now? You're focused on the points because you want to be in those first 3 spots, right? You don't think you can win the championship come the chase if
Right.
you're not finished in the top 3.
That's what I think. I definitely feel as though that the champion will come from there, just from the head start they have. But I don't know. It's been such a long time since we have run the chase, which is 10 weeks for the championship. And by far, the average finishes in the next gen era is higher than what it was back in those days. So maybe you can win it from 4th or 5th. I don't know, but the goal is to get in the top 3. I think if you get in the top 3, you got a real shot.
The Teardown was talking about it last night, and they said that NASCAR, they mock it out and look at past years. Basically, if 6 is like the absolute lowest you can be,
Yeah, you're not gonna.
Chance.
Yeah, yep.
It's
good. I think this is old school NASCAR is back. We got long points standings here. We got a little more horsepower this weekend. We've got tires that are wearing out. We're making progress.
I had a few emails this week because we touched on the points last week, just asking for a dumbed down version of what this new playoff format is. So in like 60 seconds, can you give an abbreviated rundown of the point system this year?
You run 26 weeks. They add up all the points, and then where you finish in the points 1 through 16 is seeded, and you basically get 2,100 points if you're the point leader after 26 weeks, and you'll have 2,000 points if you're 16th. So, and they're incrementally in between all that, spaced out. So the first will have a 100-point lead over 16th, and then they run 10 weeks, add up all the points, whatever your total is, it's the champion.
There you go. That was perfect. Perfect elevator pitch.
Speaking of the horsepower, this was the first race that we had the additional horsepower, correct?
This is the first one. Bowman Gray.
Mm-hmm.
How would you?
I could feel it at Bowman Gray, but I definitely thought that Phoenix is one I could tell as well.
The racing was much better.
I thought the racing was good. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it looked on TV. Again, I haven't, kind of downloaded the race and kind of looked at it yet, but I felt within my view that there was passing going on inside the top 5. And that's, it really is hard at that racetrack. We've known Phoenix, remember, the whole reason we're moving away from Phoenix is the championship race is the racing's stale there. It's not very good. I thought from what I could see, there were comers and goers. And what I liked about it is that if your car was good, your crew chief did a good job putting the right setup in, and you drove it right, you're going to drive to the front. And that's what happened.
On TV watching it, it was entertaining. There was everything that you could want.
Yeah, I agree.
What contributed to all these tires going down, and notably in the second stage, and not really the first stage?
It's the teams. We're just pushing it. We certainly know that the more you lower the air pressure, the faster you're going to be on the long run. And these teams just keep pushing it. So what they do is they get somewhat comfortable in practice. They run the first run of the race, see where things are. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, well, let me take another tenth or two out of the tire. And then that's when it's that close.
Did you see Goodyear Racing's Twitter account?
I did. I love it.
Before we go racing, remember the recommended tire pressure weren't guesses.
They were not guesses. That's right. I love a good troll by Goodyear.
Are you guys a team that pushes it, or is Gale pretty safe when it comes to that? Because we don't see many tire blowouts from you when these other guys are.
Oh, is that the announcer jinx, Trav? Did he just? Are we going to blow a tire here this weekend?
Well, now you jinxed it. I could have couched it as saying it was a Phoenix thing. You now said going forward, and
gosh,
that's not a jinx. I don't believe in jinx.
Well, I do.
I would say,
or are you just much better at saving your stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that there's things that you can do as a driver to help the situation, especially early in a run. But sometimes the anvil just drops on your head. Now, if you're a repeat offender, if it's your team or your driver that keeps blowing tires, and your team is screaming, well, we're not as low as, it's a combination of things too. It's not just the air pressure, it's how much camber you're putting with that air pressure. So if you want to drop your air pressure super, super, super low, just reduce the amount of camber that's in the tire. But then there's a efficiency that you lose actual grip on the short run. So again, it's the fine line. You want the camber for the short run, you want the air pressure for the long run, and you're constantly just battling those two out.
How do these new variables at this race affect the 2 versus 4 tire calls throughout the day?
I didn't think it was that much different. Travis rolling his eyes. I saw it. You're on camera now. You can't get away. You can't get away from it.
I can tell him to edit it out.
I knew. How about this? I knew this for a fact. When he said the call is black for the last run, I looked up and I said, "Oh, Trav's gonna shake his head at this one." I knew you were gonna have an opinion of that, especially when it came out like 12th or 11th.
For the record, I actually tweeted, I think 4 is the call.
Yeah.
You can't predict the caution.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think there was a way for us to win the race. That's why I'm just very like, we finished where we finished, because I didn't see a path to us winning. And it got started when we were 3rd or 2nd and then had that bad pit stop and went to 9th with 100 to go. That was like, I knew that was going to be really hard to win the race from that point on. Because the reason I say that is, had we stayed up front, then we got the nerve to go 2 tires, because now we can control the front of the field. But when I'm running 5th or 6th and I take 2 tires, okay, well, I'm going to restart 3rd, whatever it might be. Like, that's not my path to winning. If I take 4, I'm going to restart where I did, 11th or 12th. It's just, there wasn't a path. You had to stay further up front to have the ability to make those bold calls.
Is it also, are people overreacting on Adam Stevens and the people that made the 4 tire call compared to last November? Because I don't think it's the same thing, because you're racing to win this race, where last year is a whole different thing. You're racing against 3 people. So people saying Adam Stevens should take 2, he's got all these other, like, it's not the same in my opinion.
And he had more laps too, right?
Yes,
I mean,
but a lot more.
one's a green white checkered. The other one is, what did
25.
we run? 10 laps?
I think you would have had 20 to go when you went green.
Yeah,
the
but
first,
there was another caution.
Yeah. But I'm saying the first one I think was with 20 when they took, and then there was it's not the same.
Yeah, if Bell gets a good start, gets a good jump, 20 laps on tires. Now, if it was against anyone but Blaney, I think he's good. But when Blaney chose to take the 2, it was like, that'll be a hard one to get around. Because anybody else, I think Bell blows by him.
Because Blaney was the second best car on the day.
Exactly.
How fast does Blaney's car have to be for him to have the pit stops that he had and still get up there?
Well, I mean, he's gifted at what he does. You got to give credit to Blaney as well, because week in, week out, he is the flagship, Penske car when it comes to speed. You saw some good things out of the 22 this weekend. That they qualified well on the pole. They were up front. I mean, in the top 3 to 4 all day. Got shuffled there kind of once. They got wrecked when they started getting shuffled, and it was like I didn't think the 22 was nearly as strong as the 12. And it kind of showed once he started getting shuffled. It was like, once he loses track position, I think this could be a free for all. And it seemed like there was aggressive moves going on, but I thought, to get back to the point, Blaney's really, really good, and he's really good personally on these short flat tracks, and his team has got a great setup for him. I think they said over the last few years that they've had some crucial tests that have happened, North Wilkesboro, Loudon, that they've gotten to do tests and find how to hone in on their short track package. So they're good. He's good. He's one of the best in traffic at passing when he does have a fast car. So I knew when I saw him pull off, go down pit road, I'm thinking it's early enough. I remember thinking this is early enough to where he'll be back. Like if it was 100 to go, you're not going to see him again. But I knew he had enough time to make it back. And certainly there were enough cautions for him to make it back as well. So it all worked out.
Joey was involved in this race. As you said, started up front, won the pole, but then was involved in an incident with Ross Chastain. He get behind Ross Chastain, turn Ross into a handful of other cars, ended a few of their day, and then spun out later and collected the pack.
Yeah, Joey had a couple of them, but they were, I don't know, they were racing deals. So, I mean, there's contact being made, but I can just tell you as a driver that when you hit the apron, when you take the green, and when you all see us turn left and we hit that apron, our cars are bumping, and we're all trying to shoot gaps, right? We're trying to predict where the person in front of us is going, and all it takes is 2 people to zig at the same time, and it looks like he kind of hooked Ross there, couldn't get off of him. And then the other one, it seemed like, was it Dinger that shot the middle on him? I think it was Dinger that shot the middle on, I think Joey was backpedaling a little bit, and it seemed like he came up when Dinger was there in the middle. So I don't know. It just it was crappy end of their day, but certainly felt like as he was one of the contenders when I was looking at the end of the race. It's like, okay, he's out. There was only a couple of cars that I thought could challenge us. We're going to be in contention fast enough to actually win the race on speed. And when Joey got taken out, I was like, all right, that's one off the list. So I don't know. It just feels like, I don't think there were any surprises from this race, right? I mean, on speed.
No, the guys who are good here were good here. Bell, obviously, winner of the last.
Ty Gibbs was better than normal, right?
Yeah.
But everyone else was like Hendrick cars. I tell you what, Larson, Cliff Daniels, you got to give them credit. They take a 15th place car every Phoenix and finish in the top 5 with it. Y'all notice that? They're never fast.
I try not to notice it.
I know you don't. But they just, I watched Larson did an amazing job on restarts of like gaining chunks of spots, like 2 or 3 caution comes out, 2 or 3 caution comes out. And it was like, if it ever just went green, like his actual pace was not good. For whatever reason, they've struggled to find the pace they need in the race. I thought William Byron was less than exciting compared to where he's been there at that track in the past. So he was kind of an underperformer compared to what I would say is the status quo Phoenix race. I guess we can talk. Chase Elliott was not good either, right?
He was involved in an accident early, right? Too.
Yeah, I saw he had like tape on his car or something. So, but it just seemed like Hendrick in general were not as strong as they usually were. And Penske was good. Gibbs was good. That's Phoenix for you.
So earlier you were talking about these restarts and hoping that cars and lanes just don't wash up into you. But if Larson's getting such good restarts consistently, is he just better at reading this track and restarts and where guys are going to go? It can't just be a crapshoot, right?
Well, I think a certain amount of that is he's able to carry the car, right? I mean, he's able to get speed, but you can only do so much when your car's not good. So you can be good for a lap or two. When the chaos is going on, you can make moves to gain spots on cars that are faster than you. But after the shuffle ends, after the first 2 laps of restart, there's it's not much going forward from that point. At that point, it's just defend. Let's get a caution. Let's get some more restarts where I can claw this back or have some good pit strategy. But I mean, this has been years now where, I just think about his championship year, right? He was just not strong in that, well, his first championship year. He was not strong at Phoenix, the worst of the 4, and found a way to win, right? And then this weekend and last fall, it's just they grind these Phoenix races out.
Obviously, you don't know what's going on with Chevy being your Toyota guy, but should there be a concern with Chevy with this new body, or is this just Chevy Phoenix and like give it another week before people start to overreact?
I think it's Chevy Phoenix. Truthfully, I don't think it's the body. I think this, they looked maybe a little subpar from where they were last fall, but it's really early in the season. The bodies that they have on the car are better. They did not bring out a new body that is worse than what they had before. So it's just wait till Vegas. I think at Vegas you're gonna see the all around speed of the Chevys.
Speaking of the Chevys and Team Hendrick, we didn't talk about Alex Bowman last week, but he was out this week with vertigo, and Anthony Alfredo filled in for him, who was running top 10 before getting collected in that first incident with Logano.
Yeah, I mean, a tough ask for Anthony. He is their sim driver over there at Hendrick, and he runs so many cup laps. I mean, he probably has more laps in a cup car than some of their cup drivers, just simply because of all the sim laps that he runs on a weekly basis. So tough ask for Anthony, but probably the most qualified to do it based off of very familiar with the team. He probably communicates with the team on the regular of giving them feedback on their setups. But struggled like you would think. I don't think that there was anything shocking there, and unfortunately got caught up in that wreck. But this Alex thing, I don't know. Like, do we know whether last week's the reason he got out of the car is connected to this week's vertigo or not? Or has that not been said?
They haven't said, so it would be just speculation on our part.
Yeah.
But you'd have to,
seems like
something.
Yeah, something is connected.
The full reason, but something.
Right. Something's connected. So I don't know. I hope he gets better. Man, I've been there. in the sense of having to watch someone else. Listen, this is not like you're injured, you're a basketball player, you're injured and you're on the bench and there's a new guy out there in the starting five. The guy is wearing your jersey. You know what I mean? Like the guy's wearing your jersey and he wears his hair the same as you did. Like it's like a clone of you, because in a car you don't see the person, right? You just see the helmet, you just see the gloves, you see the car, and it's like, trust me, it's very weird as a driver seeing someone else in your suit and in your car. It's wild, and it's certainly not pleasant.
And the points that he gets doesn't go towards you, so it's not
No.
No, I mean,
how do we feel? How do we feel about Alex making the playoffs at this point?
It's over.
You think it's over?
Yeah.
I think if you took his median performance over the regular season, you would say that it's over. If he comes back and runs better than his averages, I think he could make it. But I also, who was on the bandwagon of making the playoffs a few years ago? I can't remember. Someone that was way down. Was it Chase? Because of his legs? No.
It was Chase because
there was somebody. I can't remember. I was like, he'll make it, but he didn't.
Truex didn't make it one year.
Yeah, I just forget what it was. Someone was really behind early, and we were talking about whether they could make it in or not. But anyway, I don't know. I think if it's normal Alex, he's gonna have a very tough time making the playoffs. If he comes back and he runs up front, which means you got to get a lot of stage points, and he's gonna need to probably win a race, then I think he has a shot. Just simply because a lot of points can be made up if you can't just finish good. He's going to have to run good and finish good, and there is a difference.
And you don't have that get out of jail free card anymore with winning a race and you're in. You can't win just one race and lock yourself.
We were talking about that last night too, right? Like I'm so happy that's gone. The win and you're in, right? Because like how fair would that be? That if and listen, we are sympathies for Alex and his situation. But what if he missed 10 weeks and then came in here and won, I don't know, the Daytona Summer Race and like got in the playoffs? It just doesn't feel right to me. And so looking at the points now, knowing like how awesome is it that we're looking at one set of points and we know 16th is 16th is 16th. There's nothing else to look at. And so I think that's going to be a dogfight the entire year that I'm really looking forward to.
I'm checking the standings immediately after every race. Like I didn't do that last year.
Right, because you knew that it was just TBD. These are as they run standings, even though it's after the race, you know that those standings are not real, right? In the sense of, well, somebody wins, then all of a sudden you're going to change your seating, and it's just all that stuff. So this is much better. Really happy with that.
Yeah, you can just look at these now with so much more confidence, whereas last year was so fleeting week to week.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about Bowman and his playoff chances. Your teammate, Chase Briscoe's minus 178.
To the lead. What is he to 16th?
He's got 47. 16th has got 100, so that's 53.
How much?
He's only got 20. He's got 47 points. He's only got
Brad in 16th has 100.
Oh, he's fine. Because his median performance is enough. Like,
but is his championship hopes over?
Oh, that's a good question. Because we're saying that the champion's going to be in the top 3. He's got to get hot. I mean, listen, if he goes and he wins 2 of the next 5 races and's got some top 5s and 10s in the other ones, I think we're talking about, look at this charge he just made. He's only 100 out of the points lead. I mean, so a little too early for that. Little too early. And Bowman is, just for the record, so I'll make sure, how far is he from the cut from Brad?
An additional 20 from that Briscoe is. Briscoe's got 7 points. Bowman's got 23. So
77.
An extra 24.
Yeah, and the reason I'm so pessimistic on the Bowman is we don't, we're assuming he comes back, or we don't know when he's going to come back, right? And so this is going to just keep getting worse week over week if he can't come back. And then I just think that the 19's overall speed and performance is just a little better than what the 48's is.
That's still so wild, though, is that we're asking, is the 19's championship hopes over after 4 races, 2 of which were super speedways, a road course and a cut tire, blown tire at Phoenix, and we're like, oh, that's a wrap on his championship hopes. That's just so different from last year.
I don't think so, but it's going to need to it'll take some work, right? Because if your championship contenders, the guys that are in the top 5 in the regular season, all of them are going to have 5, 6 really bad weeks. Now, did Chase get his 4 out all in you would think probably not. You know what I mean? The likelihood and the odds are that he's still going to have a few more sprinkled in, just like everyone else is. That's the downside of having them all right at the beginning of the season, is that it looks horrible, but there will be others. Tyler Reddick will have 5 or 6 really bad finishes. That's the nature of stock car racing. It just hasn't happened yet. So it looks worse than it actually is.
With this format, it feels like, if you've been a college football fan over the years, not as much now with the playoffs, but like in the BCS era, you one bad game and your season could be over. And that's what this feels like now, is like every week matters.
Yeah. And that's what Dale Jr. wanted, right? When I heard him say on this podcast many times, like, man, I want someone to blow an engine and absolutely hate it. You will. You'll feel it. No doubt.
Anything else you want to touch on from this Cup race?
Well, just Blaney's outstanding performance, Seabell's outstanding performance is awesome. I just thought that the racing in general was very, very good. The combination of the tire, the little bit of extra horsepower, it's definitely a step in the right direction for the short tracks. So I was very pleased to see, while not a huge change, we're getting back in the right direction.
I was gonna say another solid outing for 2311 especially with your top 2.
Yeah, they were really good, and Bubba qualifying as poorly as he did. I watched him on the pylon. They asked, what are you doing on race day for 2311? All I'm doing is scoreboard watching. Truthfully, every caution I'll look and check where all 3 of my cars are, and I watched the 23 like chip away the entire race. Like, it was a couple of spots here, 2 more spots this run, 3 more spots that run. And he found himself up there, what was he, P2 at one point? And then he did get some damage. I think that slowed his car down a little bit from that big Ross Chastain wreck. But that was a good sign for those guys, because 2311, where they have got to get better, is on the short tracks. That is their only truly Achilles heel that they have versus the JGR team, I feel like. So it looked like they had some pretty good pace. And I'll tell you, at the beginning of that race, I followed first. I thought we were going to win, because we were making up spots early, and it was like, whoa, we're good. But we were following Reddick, who I thought also was really good. And then it just seemed like we maintained a little bit of our pace a little bit better than what he did. And so, yeah, it's kind of what we had.
how hopeful should we be looking ahead to short tracks, considering the racing here at Phoenix was definitely better than it's been in the past? Is it going to get even better at tracks like Martinsville, or it seems like Phoenix is always kind of so-so, whereas
Yeah.
these other tracks are better than Phoenix. The racing's
It's
better.
going to be a small incremental change. Again, not the small change. What was the racing truly better this time around? Was it 10% maybe? I mean, 15, but it's something. And so I think you'll see that same change at other racetracks. One thing I will tell you is that heads up on Darlington. You want to see some cars out of control here in a few weeks. These cars with essentially little to no underbody, because we're now going to the short track aerodynamic package for Darlington. These cars are out of control. And so we are going to be, I'm predicting 4 seconds of fall off. It might be more. It's just the cars with the underbody taken off and that simple diffuser, just even on new tires, just absolutely out of control. So it's going to be a wild card race.
So who does that benefit? The guys that are
Whoever guesses right, whoever guesses the tire and the arrow and the setup right.
If you got nothing else from the Cup race, you got Justin Allgaier win Xfinity on Saturday.
Birds are chirping there now, Jared.
They are.
Mm-hmm. Justin stole this one. I thought Jesse kind of dominated the race, but the speed was in the JRM cars. I thought Sammy Smith was actually really fast. He had some great speed. Byron didn't run as good as I thought he would, but it's difficult to go in there and just do these one-offs and go really run extremely well. But a little disappointed with Byron. Allgaier again chipped away, capitalized on others' mistakes. He had some good restarts. The JGR cars, I don't know. They just seem off. I don't know what's going on with JGR's Xfinity, but they're not winning. They don't win races like they used to win. The speed is not great. The JRM cars just seem to have the speed right now. But from the weekend itself, Jesse Love was the standout to me in my eyes. Didn't finish it, but he had really good short run speed, but man, his driving style to go through 3 and 4 is tough on the tires. And so I think that eventually kind of caught up to him.
Did you take in any of the IndyCar doubleheader this weekend?
I did not. Again, I had an appearance kind of during the IndyCar race, and then I had to go back to the racetrack, do some work. So I caught exactly 0 laps at the IndyCar race, but the atmosphere was cool. I really liked the feeling of like 2 Premier Series being at the same track. There were a lot of fans that left after the IndyCar race. I can't believe they didn't stay for the Xfinity. But I'm thinking about it as a fan too, not as a fan, as a human. Asking me to sit in the stands for 8 hours probably is a very, very tough ask.
Yeah, it was. It's what are we in March? It's March in Phoenix. It was like 90 degrees and sunny.
Yeah,
it's hot.
Yep.
But it was cool. I wish that. I don't know how possible it is, but it'd be nice if you could have these types of crossover weekends, 3 to 4 times throughout the year. I don't know where the NASCAR IndyCar schedule would line up perfectly all that well, but yeah, it was cool having both series at the track, and I think there's more that you can do with that as 2 sports.
Yeah,
Fox
I'd like to see it more, and I personally want to be able to get immersed in it a little bit more, like have a Saturday where I don't have an appearance and whatnot. So I can, because I would have been out on the grid. I wanted to see how they pre-race. I wanted to check out the cars. I haven't checked out the cars in quite some time. Really, the only time I actually got up close and kind of, in depth with the cars is when I was touring around race shops looking for design ideas to build 2311. I went to, Andretti. I went to Ray Hall, and a handful of others. I went to McLaren, Aero McLaren as well, and it was all interesting stuff. So yeah, I hope they do it again. I really do.
Some off-track news here from earlier in the week. Cleetus McFarland now racing in the O'Reilly Series full-time for RCR, starting in what's that track down North Carolina we were talking about last night? I'm blanking. Rockingham.
Yeah.
Rockingham.
Man, that's going to be that'll be a challenge for him. I guess most of the talk has been, should he be able to do this, right? Is that the most of the conversation?
Yeah.
Should he be able to just go run a few laps and say, check, approved, right? Are we talking about the system, or are we talking about him? Because I think this is kind of two different things.
I think the real discussion should be about the approval process and not about Cleetus, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that Cleetus, without a doubt, has an effect on viewership. I think he, without a doubt, has an effect on bringing eyeballs to the sport that maybe wouldn't be paying attention otherwise. I don't know what's right. Well, I'll say this. I think that our approval process should be more tough than what it is. I think that there's a certain standards that we need to hold to ourselves, certainly in the Cup Series. Now, we haven't gone there yet, but like, is that where this is going? Right? I mean, Cleetus has been ultimately one of the most humble people. When I hear, him do his serious interviews, like with Dale Jr. and whatnot, like, he is very humble when it comes to these opportunities that he's getting. But I watched him in that truck race at Daytona, and I truthfully, he was out of control for all 12 of the laps before he wrecked. You could just see, I could see it. I know the sport. I know what's in control and out of control. And I was like, oh man, this is not going to end well. And should guys that are running full time for points, for championships, could be potentially, affected if he ends up spinning to the right and wiping out half the field versus going to the left and only wiping himself out. Like, I just don't know whether we certainly got to hold ourselves to a high standard or higher standard. I think the approval process in NASCAR probably needs some work. It needs to be more stringent. I think if you made the approval process more stringent, people would hire more off of talent than they would dollars, because sometimes you can't just buy your way into the ride. So then what are the people going to do? They're like, well, I don't have anyone to buy this ride. Well, let me figure out who can actually go run the best in it. You know what I mean? So it forced the car owners to make those decisions. Now, it would be tough on the car owners because then they don't have anyone to support their business. So this is a very, very tough, slippery slope that we're in. But I really caution NASCAR on letting this get too far. Like, I'm telling you, an Xfinity car at Rockingham. He's going to run Xfinity at Rockingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't see how. Hopefully, he could just not be part of the story. That's the goal. I think that would be part of the goal. Is just Cleetus go out there, run some laps, enjoy yourself, have fun, get your content. It's he's good. He's a great guy. That is the deep end. That is the deep end going to a track like that, and even super speedways. Listen, all the old drivers, everyone loves super speedways because it's, as a driver, so much easier. Well, you just hold the gas down. You don't have to use the brake. You don't need as much talent to run on super speedways, but it is still dangerous. And we saw in that truck race, like, you get some cars buffering or trucks buffering around you. Next thing you know, your cars, you're going to have some car control. And the lack of experience makes it really tough. And what I saw was that Cleetus, as a driver, was just a little behind on all of his corrections. Like, when the truck would start getting loose, you would see he'd make a correction, but it was like late. And then everything was just late. And the reason that it's late is that over time, when you get more and more seat experience, driving cars on the edge, you then find the edge. Then you know when that edge is about to happen, so you make corrections before the car actually makes movements. That's what keeps us in control at all times. And that's what the greatest NASCAR drivers were gifted at, is that knowing to make a correction way before the car even moved lines. That's how they can drive faster than everyone else. And you see, like, amateurs out on the street, right? A lot of wrecks that happen on the street is that someone will veer off the side of the road, and you see the dash camera. They'll be lazy this way. They're late. They're just behind. They don't know how to correct it to get it back in line, because they're reacting to their vehicle moving versus predicting what's going to happen next. And that's what the great race car drivers do. And what Cleetus is up against is being one of those guys not understanding what the car is about to do in certain situations. So he's always behind on his inputs. But that will get better with time. The more track time he gets, the more races he gets to run, the better he will be at that. And I think that he's gotten better. From the first race he ran, I think last year, to even, the ARCA race that I saw at Daytona this year, he was better. He was no doubt better. So I think he needs to just keep on his path, get you some more, short track experience, intermediate experience at some lower levels. And then I think that we won't have this discussion about whether he should or shouldn't be part of NASCAR's top 3 series.
That's my concern. Is right now it's a 3-race deal, 1 this year and 2 races next year. You go in the car for once, but then you don't do it again for a year. All the things that you learned are now gone again.
Well, and I heard Harvick actually brought up a decent point on this, is that he is now, by signing this, he's going to have access to a simulator. So because now he's signed with a team that has one, with a manufacturer that has one. So he potentially could get a lot more seat time now that he's up high enough in the ranks. So nothing still beats on track experience, but hopefully he'll have some more simulator time with that.
Yeah. So, like, is he gonna? How much of a factor is that simulator time going to be between this year and next year?
I mean, it might be a factor, yes, but I'm telling you, nothing is like the feel in your ass as you're going around a racetrack and feeling the edge of the car. You're feeling the right front tire in your right hand. You feel the right rear tire in your right butt cheek. It just that's how we drive. We've been doing this for decades and decades. That's how I feel the edge. And so that's something that will just take years and years and years to get good at. It's why you see some of the best drivers start really, really young. They're finding the edge in every kind of different discipline that they're in. And so, kids like Keelan Harvick that come up, I mean, they're going to be exceptional, really, really hard to beat because they know where the edge is. They're going to have so much more experience than the 25-year-old me 20 years ago.
Yeah. Like, it'll be exciting to
Yeah.
see. That's for sure. That'll be during the April 4th. That's the Cup Series off week, Easter off week. When Xfinity goes to Rockingham. You got any plans? You got any plans out here this week, Denny? Besides this fishing tournament that I'm holding for you and Charlie?
Yeah. So why don't you? Well, since you're holding it, you want to recap to the fans how we're going to decide this thing?
Okay. Well, we're gonna go to Celine Dion's pond.
Why do y'all keep calling it Celine Dion's pond?
Because
I call it Riley Herbst's pond.
Well, Riley Herbst calls it Celine Dion's pond.
Or Noah Gregson's pond.
Because Celine Dion sounds better.
That's true.
It's this pond.
Is it because her house is like right there?
Yeah, it sounds cooler. Celine Dion's pond.
Yeah.
I mean,
because she's got more number one hits than they have victories, so we're gonna go with Celine.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Trav, off the top rope. There is a pond that is, if you remember from my social media, last year, like I was hauling in some hogs. Basically, this pond was stocked for these residents, and these residents, they're not into fishing. So these fish do not see many lures in that pond. So when they see a lure in there, they just jump on it. And so we caught a lot of fish there last year. And so Jared's saying, I think we've all agreed, handshake deal on it's the amount of weight of the 5 biggest fish, just like a normal bass tournament. We're each going to have our own scale, though. But are we going to have we got to have an official person beside us when we're weighing.
Well, yes. That's why Nico stayed out here. He's going to be on you or Charlie, and then I'll be on the other.
Okay.
We're both going to be mic'd up. They'll both have GoPros wherever they want to put them, head, chest, shoulders, wherever. And they'll have a camera on you. And I think this pond's perfect because you can set a time, whatever you want it to be, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. You're going to catch fish in that window.
Yeah.
So there will be some action. And
I think 3 hours is a very fair amount of time.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you have to bring the fish in yourself for it to count?
They're only going to bring it in themselves because I'm not bringing it in for them.
Yes, you do, Travis.
Just get on the record.
I've made it very clear. No one else touches my fish.
All right.
2 rules.
I can't help that Chris dove down to the bow of the boat to pick up the fish out of the water as I'm reeling them in. Like I didn't tell him to do that.
Hey,
but that was like 2 of the 13 fish that I caught.
But Travis, that's also on me because if I wasn't filming in 0.5, you probably don't see Chris in the bottom right corner of the frame. And if I'm locked in on one-time zoom, you just don't see Chris. And then you see the bigger fish.
All right. Do we have a friendly wager? Another request. I want to use my platform here, Travis.
Okay.
This will be out later today. This is Monday evening. If you're in Phoenix, hopefully you'll get this this afternoon. Hit me up in my DMs, Phoenicians. Is that what Phoenix people are called? Phoenicians?
I don't think so.
No, it sounds right.
I think it is.
We are looking for some bass in the Scottsdale area. It can be Phoenix, Paradise Valley. We're looking for do you guys have a spot where we can go that that the fish are I hear like the canal's good, but like we're looking like for a golf course, big golf course pond. I hear that if you sneak out at night, there's bass in these golf course ponds. I don't know if that's true or not. I need the locals to steer me in the right direction of where are we going to find some fish here in this area. So hit me up in my DMs.
Is there any wager between you and Charlie for this fishing tournament, or just?
Oh, there will be at some of some sort.
All the pride.
I am the undisputed winner of the last few, though, right? Outings.
It seems like that.
They're not official though. They're unofficial events. They're unofficial.
Okay, whatever you say. What about you, Jared? What's the granola going to do out here?
You got some mountains to hike.
Yes, actually.
Thanks
Thanks for asking, Travis. I don't know. I brought out my tent, so I think we're going to.
So you know what's interesting is when we'll let him finish that. Is that Jordan asked? She said, well, "Where's your tent?" He's like, I've got it. I'll be carrying it with me." She's like, "Well, how are you going to carry that?" He's like, "It fits in my backpack. Like it's tiny, right?"
Yeah. Everything fit in my suitcase.
Jared was happy when you couldn't get into the house on
climbing
Friday.
shoes.
But you can't hike with your suitcase, can you?
Well, no. I'll hang it from my backpack.
So
We're gonna go out. I don't know if it'll be tonight. They got to look at the weather. I see it's gonna rain maybe tonight, but starting tomorrow at the very least, we're gonna go camping here in Scottsdale.
So what
Phoenix
do you do?
area.
Do you just go on a GPS map and say,
That's what your
we're going to
kids
start here and we're going to start walking from this point on?
Okay, well, out here in the West, there's a lot of land called Bureau of Land Management, BLM land, which is not owned by anybody, or it's owned by the government and given to the people. But anyway, it's just free land. So you can just roll up on this land, pitch a tent, and do whatever you want.
Jared
So
and I couldn't live.
That's what we're going to look for here in the greater Phoenix area. I'm sure there's some of this a little north of like the Cave Creek area.
So when you get to a camping point, will you drop me a pin so I can kind of see like just generally where you're at?
Absolutely.
All right. I just
Jared
want to
and-
see like where you end up. Where do you land?
Yeah, that's
So
the goal.
who's going to go out? Is it just you or you and Nico? What are y'all going to do?
Nico and I are going to go. And then on Wednesday, I think we're going to drive up to Vegas. You're going to fly up there on Thursday. We'll meet you
That's
up
a
there.
good drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that drive.
So I will drop you a pin. I will collect some photos and videos, show you how it works. Your kids were interested. Molly said she
take them
would
with
be
you.
totally down.
Take them with
She's
you.
like, I would love to
Please.
sleep with coyotes and stuff.
Molly wouldn't care. Molly would try to pet the coyotes. You know her. She loves all animals. Doesn't matter how mean they are.
Yeah. We were leaving. I drove them home from JP's baby shower the other night, and we're walking down the street, and Molly goes, all my nemesis are around. And I was like, who are your nemesis, Molly? She's like, all these cactuses.
That's right. From last year. Poor Austin went out there and stuck himself with cactus so she'd feel better.
Could Jared and I live a more different lifestyle?
No.
I want nothing to do with a hike.
I want nothing to do with an endless.
I'm in between. Like I enjoy I get what he loves about it. Like I don't love it, but like I would like it in very, very small doses.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just like a little challenging. It's like challenging enough that it's a little uncomfortable, and it like forces you to go out of your element, but not so uncomfortable that it's just like not fun, you know?
Yeah.
Trav,
how about you this week? Dale Jr. download?
Yeah. Well, Dale's
Is he
off.
taking a week off?
So it's actually Brad is our co-host this week.
Man, Dale Jr.
that'll
is
be
taking
cool.
lots of weeks off. Who's letting this all happen? Mike Davis just letting this fly?
Listen, the boss man wants time off. You give the boss man time off.
He's setting quite a precedent for the other host out here. Maybe I'll take advantage of a few weeks off.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. All
But yeah,
right. Well, I
that's
don't have
about it.
anything else. We got Vegas coming up. It's another test. You know, hopefully get a little better result than what we had this week.
You got
We'll
60
see what
there.
we got.
You get
Huh?
61 there. You got 60 there. Maybe you get 61.
I know. Which is interesting because we had really kind of fallen off. When I say we fall off the map, that means like we're not in the top 5. We're top 10. Just weren't very good there for the few races before the last fall race, and then all of a sudden we hit it really well. So hopefully we do that again. All right, well that's all I got. We'll see y'all next week.